Okay, we are live. Yay. All right. So, thank you all for being here. And we got through last year. Now we're going to get through this year. And Happy New Year's. Yeah, better than yesterday, better than the day before. So, there's a lot that everybody's got to kind of go through this process, of waking up. And it's very difficult. When you are in you don't know you're in a sleep state, you're just insensitive. And then you're more emotional and have personal problems, and you have people that have personal problems, and you get all kind of caught up in all that. And, so that's actually a nightmare. You're asleep. And what is really going on, which is very spiritual covenant with God, and the purpose of your relationship on Earth, and the fact that you're the caretaker for the planet, those things are beyond you. You don't know how to do that. It's too scary to take on those responsibilities. So it's better or easier to just go about what you're doing. Deal with it. What did mom do? What did dad do? What did grandpa do? And dad taught me these traits. I know how to hunt. Mom taught me how to cook. And grandma taught me how to do this and that. All these kind of things. And it leads to a very limited education. And throughout history, it leads you to a belief system that you're caste into your family, and that family marks you for the rest of your life. That you're a truck driver's son, therefore you're going to be a truck driver or something on that level. And you're a priest's son, so you're going to be a priest or something along that line, And that sucks. That just plain sucks. That just takes your whole life away, And what is it about this world that brings that into our reality, rather than us being honored for having another incarnation, and being here to be of service in this world and to take care of this world, and then have steps that we could take that are part of that. But there are no steps. There's not a thing, nothing, for anybody to go by. And that's mainly because of this long, drawn-out process of kings and queens, emperors and generals, and people who are so heartless, and then they are so arrogant and prideful and won't listen to other people. You know what that's like, And those usually are your leaders, your cops, Show me your badge, Trying to say that to a cop, it doesn't work that way, back and forth, You don't say shit like that, They can say, give me your wallet, Show me your ID, You look weird, you look funny, You're black, You're Mexican, You're not white, you don't look like my brother, So all these things that are projected at us all the time, we got this shit going on, and it's absolutely unnecessary, and it's not part of what God has going on. It's not part of humanity. It's not part of our nature, so it is something that is going to slowly but surely go away. It'll dissolve, and it'll be an ancient history, bad history, like, oh my God, what could it have been like to be in Hitler's period, and the war after war, and the grandpa and all their suffering, and, what that could have been like. We can't even imagine it, because we're in a different world right now. We don't have that going on, but it did exist, and we are all reincarnates, So since we're reincarnates, and there really is no real plan to this thing other than taking advantage of people, it doesn't matter if you're a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, we've been in history we've only been labor. Yeah, that's been our title. Yeah, I'm a laborer. Yeah, and when you're old enough to stand and old enough to sit in front of something and old enough to pick rocks and separate them or do something of some kind of labor, then they go, oh, well, that's a value now, get that kid over there and take him down to that place where we're going to look for stuff, and they're going to pay you, when you find it, they'll give you 5 cents, 15 cents, 4 cents, and you're toxic waste, you're digging through dirt, you're digging through all kinds of crap, you're doing all kinds of things in regular labor all throughout history. We did that. It doesn't matter what it is, shit that people don't want to do, they will pay someone else to do it. Yeah, that's just, and then we call that a trade. And it comes from back a long time ago. We used to not have money so much, and we would have a trade. And I would do for you, you would do for me. You'd pay for your house, you'd pay for all this stuff. And trade. Yeah. So your labor was part of trade. That sucks. Again, there we go. That's really sucks. Yeah. And that's not the way we're built. But when we're in a situation that is from the past and we're in a suppressed labor, we're not really getting paid anything that we're worth, and what we're worth is at least a bed, food, a shelter, and fair treatment. Honest treatment, proper clothes for the weather, proper protective environment, for the conditions, those things are treatment, and it's not that we should expect those, we should get those. It's just humane, but that really has never been in the labor region. It's not like that, I mean, because it's not like that, there's an automatic behavioral hate, anger, hostility toward these people, where you can then beat them and kick them and treat them horribly because you have rented your soul so bad, the people who are on the other side, and that makes the world a lot worse, because now you got really soulless people who have to go home, hate their dog, hate their wife, hate their children, hate their life, just because it's their job to beat people. It's their job to be mean, And now they have to. There are people who cut people's heads off. There are people who cause torture to other people. They don't go home happy, They do get paid more than the person they're beating, But that's truly, it totally all sucks, And then that's the imperil that goes into the money, That's why we have this strong psychological experience of looking at wealthy people and going, whoa, this is so unjust, and then you got all these poor people on the street. No one does anything for them. We don't have a social system. I mean, I'm not talking social, being socialist. I'm just talking, being social, you got members of your society, who are downtrodden because of alcohol and drugs, not enough jobs, not enough employment. They can't pay their, housing. They can't pay their rent, and they're on the street, and it goes up in numbers if it's really bad in that community where there's not enough support, for the people in the community. And then what do you do about the old people, And do the kids really go to a school where they get educated? And they're not just going to a school where most of the books are wrong, And the math is so inadequate to what you're actually going to use in your day-to-day life, that it really gets to you. Because you all got souls, Everybody's got a soul. But nothing we're experiencing is soulful. It's such a burden to go into the school, receive your book, sit at your broken desk in your un-air-conditioned room with your drunk teacher, who's a pervert, and not a happy person, and is ignoring most of the people in the class, and then you got your people who are mean in the class, and people who talk out of turn, and people who just don't do anything, and you're somehow, that's supposed to elevate you to learn, but it's the truth. It's the truth. I don't care if you go to New York, Chicago, Hawaii. It just is better or worse, but it's not what it's supposed to be, not unless you pay for it. Yeah. Not unless you go to a private school, not unless you pay for it. Yeah. And that's just beyond suck, because it's bad enough you got to go to work and you got to do all this stuff, and you're required, that if you are in a certain social system, you're kind of required, psychologically, peer pressure is that, if you're a nurse or a doctor, then you can't be living in a tiny house, riding a bike, carrying a backpack to work, carrying a lunch, sitting back, meditating between breaks, that's not a norm. That's not what is expected of a doctor. So try being a doctor in that system, Try making a friend in that system, You can't invite anybody over to your house. They'll humiliate you, They'll treat you like you're, what? Where'd you come from? What's your dad, a truck driver? Your family's not all doctors? You don't know how to live? Oh my God, man, come on. Get a loan. Get a bunch of loans. You're a doctor. I mean, think of all the loans you can get. You should be driving a Porsche. You should have, $500,000 to $1 million house. Because why? Because you can get a loan, dude. It doesn't matter if you make the money. Yeah. It matters whether or not you have the status. That sucks. And there you are. You tried real hard to be a doctor, and now you're in the worst position you can ever be in, because you're expected to do these material things. Live in this material way, have a very expensive car, and a very expensive house, and a really cheeky wife. It's going to cost you a major fortune. And just because it's a stereotype, all of it's temporary. You're not satisfied with that person. You're not satisfied with that house. And so it doesn't really matter whether or not it's a doctor's job or this or that. Yeah. And if you want to be a teacher, holy shit, you might as well put an idiot sign right here on your head. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm a teacher. Yep, that's me. I'm an idiot. Lowest paying job in America. Yep. And I somehow think I'm a teacher. And that, in truth, that is one of the most wonderful jobs. Yeah. It could be so satisfying for everybody, for the student, for the teacher, for the school, for the community. Yeah. The school can be like a central point. Yeah. And it really is, if things are right. If we're like in Beaverland, Leave It to Beaver, Yeah, it's real. Leave It to Beaver exists, I mean, I lived in Leave It to Beaverland, and in my mind, I was Beaver, and my world existed, And if you talk to the guy who played Leave It to Beaver, he's the same guy he was in that show. So it was a reality. All the people in the show was a reality. It wasn't a reality show, but it was conceived in a consciousness where people were normal. And kids went to school and they enjoyed school. They loved their teacher. I mean, he really loved his teacher. Kind of too much, but it didn't go too far out. There were just so many good things. His fireman, the guy who was a fireman, the old man, If you don't remember this show, you got to look back at it, because that is your future. It's your future. And when things calm down and we minimalize and we accept that we live in a suburban or out in the mountain scenario, and we don't have to live in a great big tower like Trump, that we can actually live and not have to commute. Because that's the way the days are. That's the way life is turning out. Not the way that it was, but the way it's going to be. So we're really caretakers. Yeah. And we're going to be brought into a situation to where all the jobs, every single thing that we do is going to be transformed. Yeah. To where it has good karma involved in it. Yeah. We have opportunities. Yeah. For the first time, we were able to buy a Prius. And we actually, once we got behind the wheel, we paid for it or leased it, and we were driving it, we can sense we're a better person, And this is a better car than all the other choices I could have made. I'm a better person. And people, they come up to me. No one ever came up to me in that truck and that other car, and, no one ever noticed me, But everybody who had a Prius, well, can I see it? Can I look inside? Wow. They look up to you, That's life. That's life. When we're in all right relationships and things are provided, all the things that come in the future are going to be like that. Yeah. Where even your iPhone, you're holding the most incredible computer you ever could imagine, and it's getting better by the year. Don't complain that, it's a Model X and now they're trying to, rip us off. Yeah, it's not true. They're spending a lot of time developing and making this, the processor inside of it is more advanced than most regular computers. And you buy an iPad today, it's more advanced than the laptop you can buy from the same supplier. It's more advanced because that's the way it's being developed. And that's the way it's set. It's designed that way in this new technology, in this new realm of electronics, yeah, where we're using electricity and we're dealing with things, yeah. And soon we're going to be dealing with, oh, wow, everything is all robotic and we're losing our jobs, yeah. But the truth is, by the year 2050, we'll lose around 27 million jobs, just in America alone, yeah. But we'll gain 50 million jobs. Yeah, that's, what? Think about that, yeah. 50 million jobs will be gained. 27 million will be lost, and those will be coal miners, yeah? People working in industries that super suck and turn over to like Ford, GM, all these places that are all want to leave the country and build elsewhere, yeah? They leave, yeah? But now they're starting to come back, and they're building electric cars, massively, large manufacturing plants, mega plants, yeah? That means 20, 30,000 people are going to get a job in that plant. And they're going to build cars that have never been built before. Yeah? So that means all new machines, and those machines have to be built. Yeah? So all those robots that have to go in there have to be built. Yeah? That means another 20, 30,000 jobs to supply and create that mechanical aspect to make this building work. That's just one building. Imagine we got like 20 of those. These mega, super mega, manufacturing plants. Yeah. And most of them are focusing on building batteries and building vehicles. Yeah. And they're building trucks. They're building semi-trucks. Yeah. They're building regular cars. Yeah. Take a look at this. This is an image of a few years down the road. Very few years. Whoops. There. Okay, so you can see 2017, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Yeah? And these are all new cars. Every single one of those that you see are new cars that are coming into America. Yeah, just America. Now, the rest of the world, there's another 48 cars. 48. There's 27 coming out of China, 22 coming out of Europe and Japan alone. There are 4 that have never been done before are coming out of Canada. Yeah, and Canada's starting to make trucks and other things. Yeah, Rivian is starting to make vans. 100,000 electric vans will be on the road in America within the next 2.5 years. 100,000. That's a dramatic change. Yeah, that also means that those 100,000 employees will not be filling up diesel into their van. Yeah, that means we won't be needing diesel. Yeah. All these cars that you see right here will take the place of all the cars that are on the market. Yeah, these are a lot of cars, yeah. By the year 2024, look at all those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I think it's 23 cars. Yeah, that's a lot of cars. Yeah. And you know, Tesla keeps coming out. Other ones are coming out, you know. So this is in the process. Each one of these cars is a manufacturing process. Each one is a jobs, employment, all these things, engineering. And then connected to that is batteries. We have to have batteries. We have to have software. We have to have apps that work with these things. So all of this is jobs. Yeah, so this is an opening where you could see where 2013 Tesla came out with the first major car, yeah, Model S. And then along comes, you know, the BMW comes out with an electric car, and a few others come out with fully electric cars, yeah. And we get Chevy, we get the Volt, we get all these different electric cars that are coming out, yeah. And that's all up to 2017. Yeah, they're trickling out 1 or 2 a year, but they continue being in the sale process. So in 2013, there's 1, maybe 2. 2014, there's 3 cars that you can buy. Yeah, by 2017, there are 8 or 9 cars that you could buy. The average person can buy. Yeah. By 2020, we're at this place. You know, we're at 19, 20 cars. That is an enormous amount of change in people's direction as to what they're going to do. And now if we look at the relationship of solar, yeah, and we're putting up solar, but we're putting batteries with solar, yeah, batteries and solar and wind generators together. So now we have a storage, and that storage makes the solar useful. Yeah, now it functions. Yeah, so we can get through a whole day, if not more, by having battery storage. Yeah, so we don't really run out of electricity in our use. Now, this can go on in a town. This could go on at your home. This could go on, small to big. Yeah, you have a tiny home. You yourself are 100%, and we could do that now because we have battery storage. Yeah, and that battery storage is going from I don't know how much per kilowatt, but it used to be pretty expensive. Yeah, but now it's going down to really inexpensive, and the batteries last 8 to 10 years. Yeah, so you're sitting there with an investment that is so little now, and 1/10 the price for the solar panels. Yeah, 1/3 the price for the batteries, and the batteries last longer. They're not lead acid batteries; they're lithium batteries. Yeah, so they last longer, and you could go all the way down the battery to where it's almost at completely empty. Where you can't do that with the lead acid battery. You can only go about halfway to 2/3 max. Or you'll destroy the battery. So there's lots of limitations that have ended, and now we're in a whole other area. Where batteries, we're using lithium batteries that have a tiny bit of lead in them, yeah, and then they have phosphate in them, and then we're using other things, yeah, that are causing the batteries to charge longer and faster, yeah, and cool at a more normal rate. So batteries are changing nearly every year. Yeah? And industries are growing. Panasonic, Samsung, Tesla, all these major, really major industries are growing. The size of cities are making batteries now. Yeah? And there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people employed in those areas. Yeah? It's just not talked about. Yeah? So when everything goes back into function, we're down on the coronavirus and we're all starting to get jobs, the jobs are in the trade, the new electronic trade. Yeah. And everybody, you don't have to be a genius and an engineer. You could be putting up solar panels. Yeah. And maintaining solar panels. You could be putting in solar systems and batteries and everything into people's homes. And you could be making an average of $15,000, $20,000 a month. Yeah, through self-employment. Yeah, all you have to do is be qualified, be good, get a good reputation. Yeah, and you'll have advanced orders beyond your wildest imagination without working for someone. Yeah, just as all this gets built, it has to be maintained. And there are many people who wants to do it without it being hooked up with a great big company that you have to pay a large amount of money for, where you could just hire a technician and buy the equipment and have it installed. And we're learning that that's really a very good idea. Yeah. So this is all new job opportunities that no one has in their mind as to what can we do with life. Yeah. West Virginia, we're going to be coal. Yeah. And well, what happens if coal's not there? I don't know. I'm just going to die. I'm going to sit on the porch, and watch my teeth fall out, and drink my own brew, my own home brew. Yeah. And that is not my vision of humanity. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. All they need to be is told the truth. Yeah. And if we go in, and they're going to, because every town needs electricity. Every town needs energy. Every town needs business. Yeah? And it's this new level of reality that people are going to service and maintain and build. Yeah? So we have, if we were looking at a world to where we're just maintaining what we got, therefore we really don't spend much money on what we got, and it all starts looking like shit. Big holes in the road, freeways we just accept, where that's not our reality. Most freeways will not exist by the year 2000. Right now we're in the year 2021. Yeah. Within 80 years, yeah, when we get to that next millennium, yeah, when we get to that place, yeah, this whole thing will be grown over. Yeah. We're going to allow things to go back to its natural environment. Slowly but surely, we're going to step back. Cities will go back to reforestation. Yeah? And this isn't something that anybody be willed to do. Yeah? It's something that we're all going to do with great enthusiasm and understanding. Yeah? That it's so much nicer to have no aqueducts, but have rivers that existed originally. Put the rivers back and allow the trees to grow and the plants to come and the animals to come and sanctuaries to be, so we can live off that. Yeah. And everywhere in town, there are businesses, but they're between trees. Yeah. It's not on a sidewalk with 100 different little ticky-tacky businesses on one sidewalk, and we all got to go down that sidewalk and go in and out of one business. It's just so boring. It's not real life. Yeah. And we're going to simplify as life goes on. And everything, we're going to have monorails that are completely anti-gravity and inside a tube and go, 1,000 miles an hour, and others that go 400 or 500 miles an hour for short-term distances. And we'll enjoy that travel because it costs us nearly nothing. And it gets us there. That way we can live far away from places that have a lot of activity things going on, Live far away from mountains that we want to go climb at and enjoy. you know, where we could just jump on one of these things and be there in an hour and a half with our backpack, you know, and get out and, you know, rent our little electric car and our you know, our electric, you know, RV, you know, and head on to our local area and sleep in our RV. Because I think in the future, most of us will be very clearly aware of the fact that you're better off in a vehicle you can pull over and pee in than having a vehicle you have to find a gas station and go to the bathroom, and it's the worst experience you've ever had, you know? And if you're ever going to get sick, those are the moments you're going to get sick. You know, you're going to get some freaking venereal disease you didn't even know existed, you know, where you could. And it's all being designed this way, where the vehicles are not that big. They're going to be electric. They're going to have a bed in them. They're going to have a toilet in them. They're going to have a kitchenette in them, a refrigerator in them. They'll drive themselves, you know. I mean, really, honest to God, it's going to turn out like this because this is what you want. Yeah, you don't know what you want until after you've had it. Then you realize, well, that's all I want, you know, because I can't stand not going to the bathroom when I have to go to the bathroom, you know, but yet my vehicle, I just pull it over and I'm gone. I did it. I'm happy. And I fed myself. I ate the meal that I wanted rather than stop at Jack in the Box. Yeah. All this is done through minimalism. We're all going to learn this, and our vehicles are going to provide these things. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of it, the kitchen you're not going to see when you get in the vehicle. You're going to push a button, everything goes flip, flop, bang, bang. And there it is. There's a kitchen right there. Wow. Yeah. Hardly any windows in the vehicle because you don't need them. Yeah, it drives themselves. Yeah. Our future is a very, very different process, and it doesn't really cost us much when we're in this level of reality. And we don't know what it's like, ever know what it's like to be in this level of reality. Yeah. Most of us never think about flying. Yeah. What a joy it is to fly. I mean, you have no idea, you know, to actually get in a plane and go fly someplace. It's like you're a bird. Yeah. And you need to feel this experience. Yeah. And we are not in a society to where any of us are thinking very commonly that we should be having something that flies. Yeah. But in the future, we will all have something that flies. Yeah. We can either go by vehicle, by rail, or by plane. Yeah. And that plane is an individual plane that comes and picks us up, and we are gone. And we can zoom around and have fun and play. Yeah. That's what life is like in the future, because our energy is no cost. Yeah. It's electric. It doesn't break down. Unlike gas engines that could go off on you at any time. Electric engine, you know, goes on for a million miles, you know. Your battery doesn't just die on you. Yeah. It's likely to keep going and going and going and going and going. More than what you would have gone to, because the way the system is set up is that you can't go to your destination if you don't have the fuel. Yeah. So it's just stupidity kind of is overridden, you know, in the future. So we learn from that. We learn that AI, you know, helps us make better decisions. Yeah. And it keeps us from dying. Yeah. It keeps us from having terrible outcomes happen, which we have happen all the time. Yeah. We now have navigation. Yeah. So many people are not getting into wrecks and not frustrated in the way that they would have been if they didn't have navigation the way we had in the past. With all the people that are driving, all the shit goes on, and people with cellular and everything, man, there should be so many people dead. Yeah. But due to navigation, you know, we're blessed. Yeah. But it's nothing compared to what we're going to get in the future. And this is all inkling in. With Trump, you know, he wiped away your environmental program. You probably don't even know that. Check this out.
Build new roads, bridges, tunnels, highways, bigger, better, faster, and we want to build them at less cost. previous administration waged a relentless war on American energy. We can't do that. I'm not going to lose that wealth. I'm not going to lose it on dreams, on windmills, which frankly aren't working too well.
So what he just said is that I'm not going to lose that money. I'm not going to lose that. Yeah. So he's stuck in his mind of the existing situation. You can't go beyond it. You can't think, what is a car? How does a car run? You can't think anything. Yeah. So the only thing he can think is what exists right now. And what exists right now is that when he goes to Virginia, it's all coal mines. And when he's a high-rise person making a lot of money in stock and oil and coal and things like that, there's a lot of money to be made there as long as it's being sold, as long as it's being used. So we need to open up more power plants so he and his friends can make more money off of coal while it still exists. It's a set market, yeah? That's how he's going to make his money. But the real reality is he would lose his money. That's the reality, and he doesn't know that. He doesn't believe in solar. He doesn't believe in wind generation, yeah? So he doesn't know that coal is selling for 55 cents at the same amount of energy that you get out of solar that provides you that same amount of energy at only 15 cents. Yeah, this costs you 55 cents. This costs 15 cents. Now, the people who are going to go, well, I'll buy that coal plant and I'll build it because Trump says it'll make money. But 2 years after it's running and they see all the other businesses making all this money from free energy. Once they've provided the system, all there is maintenance. Yeah, you're not paying a bunch of employees to go into dark caves and keep their thing going and all this. It's just constant money flow. Yeah, where coal is not. Coal is something you have to dig out of the ground. You have to keep it moving. You have to keep paying money to keep it going. Yeah, so they find this. Yeah, and people like Trump, as time goes on, are found to be a bad investment. Yeah, because it's all about money. Yeah, and when it comes down to being a bad investment, the decision's made. We're not going to go that way. Yeah, GM didn't want to make electric cars, but then they found out Tesla made a lot of money, on this electric car thing. Yeah, so we are definitely doing that. And then every single car manufacturer made the same decision. Yeah, why? Not because they're not going to continue making money making these cars, but they're going to lose out if they don't start now. And because the cost of it is going to be less than half the cost of building a car they're building today will be the cost of building the cars that are now being built by robots. Yeah? And have batteries and motors in them that don't break down and cost 1/10 the price to put in. Yeah? And then you're telling a person, and your entire fuel system is built into the car. Yeah? And now you can put solar on your house, and you are your own gas station. You can't say that with a gas automobile. Yeah, you can just say, fix it, or leave it, or continue working on it, and always pay for all that upgrades and all that maintenance and everything you have to do. There's no transmission. There's no oil in it. Yeah, no pistons to break. All of that is gone. Yeah, so all the manufacturers come to realize this process, and as we come along, when we get to these cars in the year 2030, we'll have cars that we're going to go, whoa, how is it we're only paying $25,000 for a car that gets 500 miles, charges in 15 minutes, and it could be done in my home. So I never, ever, ever had to pay for gas again. Yeah? And I get all of this technology. It talks to other cars. It has Wi-Fi built inside. It's connected to everything. It's safe. It drives its freaking self. I didn't even have to pay extra for that. I did back in 2020 when I had a Tesla. But these new cars automatically come with it. Isn't that amazing? At $20,000, $18,000, for the smaller car. Yeah, because we're moving into a system to where it's all open to people checking it. What are the real costs of that? Let's take it apart, break it, and let's test it and see whether or not we can make something of the same quality for a lower price. Yeah, and we're in that consciousness now. That's what we're doing to Tesla. That's what we're doing to everything. Yeah, so all of this is going to be in minimalism. Yeah, just like we have the Tesla car, we have no dash in front of us. We have a monitor way over here, and your mind, you're just going, geez, this is crazy. I can't see what speed I'm doing. I don't know what's going on, and everything's over here, But after a little while, you go, wow, that's all normal. I don't really need all that. And that was based on minimalism. Yeah. The fact that we really don't need all this stuff. Yeah. That what we can get away with is a minimal amount. And then we learn, actually we do need one monitor right here. And then another monitor over here. And that's like a year and a half, 2, 4, 5 years down the road, we synthesize better ideas in a more moderate way, and it becomes less and less expensive because we're making the best ideas as we go along, and we don't have to improve them. Yeah, we just make them easier and cheaper. Yeah, they're manifested with higher technology. The computers that go in are so fast and so capable, that the car becomes an AI. Yeah, and that really cuts down an enormous amount of wires and all the things that we normally would have to spend a week of adding to the manufacturing of the car. Where now it's AI. It's all, it's communicating to itself through Bluetooth or other means. Yeah, and even the brakes have no wiring, no real cables, none, no fluid. Yeah, it's electronically based. Yeah, and we're not really used to that. Yeah, so as time goes on, we get in more and more of these products. Our homes are built with electricity already built in, battery pack there, because by the year 2025, a great deal of people will automatically put that in their homes, upgrade their homes, and sell those homes, buy another home that has it already built in. So from there on, that will be the standard. Most homes will be in this way. So slowly but surely, we're going to minimalize, and get to a place to where our income is coming from, our ability to be creative, thought-form building, not stifled in our creativity, not stifled in our ability to relax and stay home today, And what a horrifying thing to have to say to your boss, well, I think I'm going to stay home today. No, I don't think you're going to stay home today. You're fired. What? What kind of attitude is that? I wouldn't have fired you if you said you wanted to stay home today. What's up? I would have just done more. I would have done something better. Why'd you fire me? That's where we're at right now. Yeah. So we need to get out of that. We don't need to have that in our environment, into our life. And that's going to be slowly but surely. Coronavirus has wiped away a lot of people being dependent upon jobs that are not the right jobs for people. There are better jobs for people, and we're going to develop those jobs. Yeah, and as we get to that, we're going to gain an attitude that we're not in an unemployed society. We're not in a situation to where we're not paid for what it is we own. Because if you own a house and you got to pay $5,000 a month for your house, you're stupid. That means you got to go out and have a job that will pay for that. And then you also want a house, you want a car, maybe 2 or 3. You want insurance on all of those. You're talking $10,000 a month just to maintain your mind. Yeah? What you think you need to have around you and going on. Where in reality, you could be living on $1,200 a month for a place to live, and a car that, you lease and it's electric, so you're not really paying all these other things, So really, you're bringing it down, And you're not living in a 5-bedroom house, you're living in a 1-bedroom house, Maybe even a studio, so you don't have to heat the whole freaking place, All those things come to mind when you do the right thing, and then you get the right behavior. Yeah, you get satisfaction from doing the right thing. Yeah. So we have to, slowly but surely, we're being moved into those things, but we have to provide, those things in order to give people that environment. Just like solar has to be there, batteries have to be there, all of that. Now, just like Tesla is building mega factories and all of that. Well, at the same time, you've got this idiot leaving the office, and he's doing like this. Let's see, I don't know if I showed this one to you yet. Did you see that?
This is with regard to the
Yeah.
construction of the Keystone Pipeline, something that's been in dispute, and it's subject to a renegotiation of terms by us. We're going to renegotiate some of the terms, and if they'd like, we'll see if we can get that pipeline built. A lot of jobs, 28,000 jobs, great construction jobs. Okay, Keystone Pipeline.
One of the many things that's wrong with that is that here he's signing a bill, and he's telling people who are interested in having this done, backers, supporters, people who are going to build the pipes, steel manufacturers, all these people. That means that they have to, right now, they have to think, we better get loans, because we can't afford to make that, We're going to have to build a factory, We're going to have to get these loans, So from the time he does this, all of a sudden, all these industries are doing something that has not been passed yet. But in order to make sure it gets done, he's pushing them in the wrong direction rather than building wind generators and windmills and solar plants and more electric cars and funding in that area, which was done a long time ago when we funded Obama. And we funded solar, and we funded wind generators, and all of that by $30 million here, $40 million there. Starting these industries, getting them going. Not coal, things that will be here 200 years from now, and technologies that will continue growing, because unless we build the plants, solar plants, we won't learn from those solar plants, and then as we build the next one, it'll be far cheaper. We'll learn exactly how much it makes in that process, and we can adequately begin a program of planning the infrastructure of the world as things are happening, because now we have batteries, now we have solar, and solar's going cheap, and all this. So it literally brings investors and companies and countries into the process of doing this all over the world. So we have India, India's, they not only are going to do solar, they're doing wind, and they're doing electric cars. So let's take a look at India. Oops, got to get rid of that one. Okay, look. Here you got 10 million jobs in India by building these electric cars, and putting up solar on all the houses, and solar by the tens of thousands of acres all throughout India, And these are people who need jobs. Well, 10 million jobs is a lot of jobs. And that's really happening. That's India. Well, we can do 10 million jobs. you know? All you got to do is see reality, see reality, not as a, Trump has a tendency to push people into this patriotism, to where you're focused on your country, and we're like, we're focused on our favorite baseball team, and this is our favorite baseball team, the United States of America. And then, oh yeah, but I'm from Arkansas, so my favorite place is United States of America, Arkansas, and then there's my team, and all that is just this insanity that harms everybody and brings everybody to harm. It keeps us going in this thing that we tried to get rid of in the Civil War and the making of the Constitution. We tried to get rid of it. We're still trying, We have this bias. We have this ridiculousness of as though we own something or we are something of that something, And we're not, We're not anything, We are God's children, And we have no idea what God's plan is. But if we're in service, then we're provided the plan, and all we got to do is do our job. So our jobs no longer become inhibition of our soul. We can trust that when we go, I'm going to try. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to choose a trade. I feel I want to do this. I'm going to go be a nurse. I'm going to go be an electrician. I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to go and try and get hired here and there. And now this process on a soul level is moving people into being able to get jobs or integrity, that could be fulfilled. So, and we're not in that scenario. We're, people who live in Seattle, you got all your friends are going, well, maybe you should be LGBT, how about communism? Did you read Marxism yet? Get out of town, bad place to live. Even though Amazon's there and other big companies are there, the people are terrible, and they're forcing people to be antisocial, and that is where socialism begins, is antisocial. It's just a part of an insanity, a miasm of craziness that comes from humanity, and we can get worse. We can become communists. We can become fascist. So all these things come up through this thing that makes us think that we're the United States and it's such a big deal, when it's not. We're the earth. So the way God is working it is that God is helping the whole world. So we should look bigger and go, wow, God has got us in the International Space Station, not a California space station or United States space station or just a Russian space station, which there used to be. But we gathered together and chose to do an international space station. Why? Because we are the world. And that if you will hear this more and more and more. It's not a new age thing. It is the consciousness of our being as caretakers. And one of the reasons why we go to the moon is so that we can see the earth better and feel a compassion for it and see how fragile it is, and how beautiful it is, how rare it is. It's got oceans, it's got clouds. You could see it all, from the moon, something that leads you to, a very high spiritual experience about earth. So everything is about our internationalness or our earthness, the whole earth, reality. So if we begin seeing this and we realize that God's the one who's in charge. We don't have a president. The God's in charge of that, and there are all these dictators, but God's still in charge of that too. He's straightening those assholes out, and that, then there's England, and it's got its thing, but it's doing okay, because God's doing that, and God is everywhere now. If we look at that, there's a big difference in time and space, in this world since 1951, and it all adds up. And as we're stepping into the year 2021, we're pushing the envelope away from the past. We are recapitulating, and we're using the past to heal what led us into a misdirected reality, yeah, to where now we can be moved into a directed reality that is by God and through the offerings that God gives. So we need to look, right? Revelation, right? So when we see, that all the jobs that are being developed are jobs that are the same around the world. People everywhere are going to put solar on their home, yeah, and they're not going to be dependent. And people everywhere is going to be connected to Starlight, the satellite system that's being done by Tesla Group, yeah. And that's going to end our relationship to having a limited cellular phone or a limited Wi-Fi access. Yeah, that every mile and a half we have a perfect carrier that allows us, a gigabyte of memory coming into our phone, and coming into our computer, coming into our car, coming into anything that we're working with. It has this access that's no longer limited. Yeah. So that'll change. Where right now we're not that way. We are barely able to communicate with the cell phone we got. What do you have? Verizon? What do you have? AT&T? Well, if I go too far, I can't get anything, That's not going to be the way. And we have to have cell phone for this and Wi-Fi for that and something else for our TV and to watch our movies and everything. It's all going to come down to one thing. Yeah. And we're going to pay very little money for it. And it'll go with us wherever we go. That same system, that one thing can connect into branches and branches of these satellites all over the planet, receiving and transmitting. Yeah. So we're easy, to get our communications, where right now it's not. So we're moving from a world where it's just beginning to a world where it's at. And we have all this going on. And it becomes freer and freer and freer. Yeah. Cost of energy, cost of water, becomes freer and freer and freer, because as time goes on, all our houses have evaporators in them that evaporate. Oh, I lost my signal. Better get on another one. I'm over here. I don't know if I'm still online. Streaming? Yep, still streaming. Okay. So right now people dig wells. Yeah. People desalinize, people use filtering for bad water. Yeah. But we have systems to where we could easily take the water right out of the air. Yeah. And that comes through a system, and then we filter it through a mineral system. So it becomes like a stream, and it's ionized and oxygenized. So this is all natural, very cheap, done in solar, done in a very small electronic reality, and it evaporates the water that you're just in your house, sleeping overnight, and you got 20 gallons in the morning, enough to take a shower, enough to run your toilet, wash your dishes, and then it evaporates more, and another 15 gallons goes into the thing, yeah? And all it is just taking the air and turning it into water and evaporating it, yeah? So it doesn't matter where you're at. You could be in a van, and you have this evaporator sitting in your van, so therefore you never have to worry about putting water in the van or even getting rid of that water, okay? Because you can run it back through the cycle and it'll evaporate it, and it becomes water again, yeah? So all of these things is going to be our future. Electricity is going to be cheap. Water is going to be accessible to anybody. And electricity is going to be accessible to anybody. These are two things that we all die for. Trying to have water, clean, pure, fresh water on a day-to-day basis all around the world. And there's always air. Yeah. So, and it's so cheap. So is solar. A house in Africa in the middle of nowhere can have a series of battery packs that last that house a week. So if weather goes bad, it still maintains. Yeah. And then you got outdoor sun collectors that heat your food, your water, everything. Yeah. And you got your starlight, coming in from satellite. And it's so cheap, and it's offered for free in absolutely poor countries. Yeah. So we don't have this The things that we have today, we won't have in the future. Yeah. And all of this will transfer over to us, you know, being in a society to where we're not held by dictators and people that are stealing from us and just constant evil, whether it be in Africa or other places. That dwindles away. Yeah. Because people are being maintained, and the reason why people are evil is because there is no economy. Yeah. It drives people into stealing. It drives people into being corrupt. It drives people into hoarding food or money. It's just like, you know, thinking that you need to be super skinny. You know, you'll do anything to do it. And you look in the mirror, and even though you're a perfect looking person, you think you're skinny as hell. You know, and it's all in your freaking mind. You know, and all of this whole world is screwed up because we're living in a very sick mind. And it's not any one individual, but it's the mass of humanity. And this process I'm speaking of is what's going to heal you. All these things coming into your life is going to take away all that burden of, you know, having to pay for your life. Yeah, because given about 50 years, the houses that will be built will not fall apart. Yeah, they won't burn. You know, I can show you houses today you can buy for $50,000 and they won't burn. Yeah, and they unfold in less than 4 hours. Yeah, they're fully insulated, this thick. They're sealed. They won't burn. You know, you can take them into a tornado and boards can hit them as hard as they want and they just bounce off. Yeah, because they're metal shields. Yeah. And that's a $50,000 house. It includes your sink, your washer and dryer, your refrigerator, the whole thing, $50,000. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, but that's where we're going, and that's all coming. That house now can go onto a back of a truck, where you used to have to, if you're going to bring a house someplace, you know, it's like shipping is the most expensive thing, because you got 4 or 5 cars, you know, in front and behind, and driving real slow and taking up 2 lanes, you know, trying to move a house, you know, it's crazy. But this is a folding house that folds up on a regular flatbed. You could take anywhere. You don't need any spotters, and you just go there. You get there, and you take it off with a crane and drop it onto a foundation. It's already prepared, and it just unfolds one wall after another. And then the ceiling unfolds down on it. And then you pull out refrigerator, washing machine. And you bring in, you know, your clothes, your kitchen stuff. By the end of the day, you're living in a house. Yeah. And you know, a mortgage today, you know, for a $500,000 house is a lot of money. But a $50,000 house, it wouldn't go more than a 10-year mortgage, you know. And what costs you maybe $300, $400 a month, you know, that's amazing, yeah. You know, so that process of it being solar, and that it brings its own water, and that it's insulated, and that you don't lose anything. These are things that can go into any. These are all manufactured in a manufacturing plant, not people coming out, contracting, building, pumping, banging, you know, doing all kinds of things. No, it is a truck that pulls up and builds a house in one day. No one in the neighborhood is disturbed. Nobody. That's a big thing. That's a great thing. Yeah, and that's our future. Yeah, our whole entire. It's just a matter of us accepting this process. Yeah, that comes in. Yeah. So let's look at one more thing. Here's Trump got a report card from from the Scholars of America on presidents. Scholars of presidents in all these universities gave him a report card. See. Okay, what they did was that in 2018, they looked at all the presidents that up to a certain point, and I think maybe all of them, and gave them 170 scholars, focused on these guys, and looked to see a score of 100 to 0. Yeah, and these are scholars. They're not people who are just Republican, Democrat, things like that, but they actually are interested in the president and qualities of the president. So, and then they asked for them to grade them. Yeah, and that came up in the end. You got an F? That's your president. That was your president. And he still is, because he won't leave. That tells you something. But this is the last thing I have to say about him for today.
I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. As President Trump continues to look for ways to overturn the 2020 election, he's also continued to raise massive sums of money, over $500 million since mid-October, including more than $250 million since Election Day alone. Trump's largest single days for online donations actually came after Election Day. On November 6th, he raised nearly $750,000 per hour. The New York Times reports that more than $60 million of the money he's raised has gone to a new political action committee that Trump will control after he leaves office. For a sense of the scale, this is about as much money as Trump spent to win the Republican presidential nomination in 2016. The Times report opens, quote, Donald J. Trump will exit the White House as a private citizen next month, perched atop a pile of campaign cash unheard of for an outgoing president, and with few legal limits on how he can spend it.
That means we got a lot more poorer people in America right now. Millions of dollars have been taken out of their bank accounts and put into his bank account. Yeah. And yet there's no income for these people. They're all in a state of, oh, we got to make him president. We have to get him to overturn this fake, election. Yeah. And for him to say it's a fake election, that gives him a justification for people to pay him, to have to pay for all these legal lawsuits, which none really happened. They didn't last 15 minutes. So there's not a lot of money being spent when you're in court for 15 minutes. Your team doesn't get paid a whole day. They get paid maybe a couple hours. So he saves a lot of money by having a fake thing go on, and therefore he's making everybody think that all this effort is being put in. Like that one person that gave $3 million, and he was supposed to sue Texas and all of this, but then he decides not to, and the guy wants his money back. Yeah, and I don't know if he ever got it back, but he sued Trump for the money. So this shit is what we got. This is what we have going on. And it makes you subconsciously think that everything is unscrupulous. That Amazon may be evil. you know, that people who make the virus, you know, protection, you know, may be evil, you know, that other people, just by their own innate actions, you know, are pressured to do wrong and carry out evil against society, you know. So you can't trust going someplace. You can't trust going to a restaurant. You can't trust, you know, getting a vaccine. You can't trust. You can't trust because in your world there's no God, there's no Jesus. As though he's in charge of it. And there are things that are going on that he's trying to make right. And if people move into this revelation that Christ is here and that Trump is leaving and that everything that's being done is getting Trump out, which means it's getting all the corruption out. Yeah, and you'll see it. You'll see all of them get busted. Yeah, cops get busted, people get busted, all the women out there making all kinds of weird gestures and telling people they're stupid and hollering at them for no reason whatsoever. They're getting busted now. Yeah, and anybody who's making an ass out of themselves is getting busted. You know, people just pull out their phone, video them, put them on YouTube, and that's done. You know, it's not the same world. You know, so before, all these assholes used to get away with it. You know, they could terrorize you and they could do all kinds of things, and there's nothing you could do about it. But that's not the way the world's going to turn out. That it will change. All our cars are going to have, you know, cameras to where if anybody does any weird stuff to us, they're going to be like Teslas. You know, and you're going to know who it was, what they did, when they did it, you know, and you can send it to the police. You know, you can get insurance coverage. You know, where before we didn't have that backup. Nothing backed us up, you know, unless we were there with a witness or there to prove our case, you know, but in most times we didn't have anything. Now we have systems that are built in to literally be there to protect us, and if we're not there, to take pictures of our surrounding area in case something goes wrong, and then we can do something about it later. You know, that's really good for your soul. Yeah, because we're in a situation to where we don't trust our friends, we don't trust our neighbors, we don't trust our loved ones, you know, and we have to do that. We need to learn to do that. We need to stop ourselves from having those feelings, you know. Just stop it. Don't have a conversation in your head. Don't express it outwardly. Just let it slide and see if God will enter and change the circumstance. And, you know, and then you don't have to go, well, since, you know, a person doesn't believe in God, then they believe in God in the machine. So that means they got to get someone else to do it in order for it to get done. And they project that people don't care because they're not complaining. You know, if you complain, you care. And that's not real. That's not really true. You know, because a lot of times just witnessing and knowing and then communicating correctly without it being an insinuation that there's something wrong with you or something wrong with the whole world, you know. Just let all that go and keep it down to the little one, just a little tiny thing, you know, and you'll fix it. You know, because the problem is that people have problems. They're caught up in a whirlwind of shit. And if you enter into it, you know, you'll get caught in it, you know, and everybody is under the blessing of God, you know, and they need to be given the grace to be recognized as having that grace and not the thought that, you know, I'm under the blessing of God, but they're not. And that's not true. Not where I come from. That's not my teaching, you know. I don't believe anybody. I believe everybody is under my blessing. They don't ask for it. I don't give a shit. You know, I'm going to give it anyway, and I'm going to change everything according to my plan and the way I see it and how it's going to turn out, and it's going to work out exactly that way in the end. You know, you'll all see it revolve and evolve into that process. Yeah, you know, so everything has its part in the plan. All we have to do is really relax and pay active attention. Like if I'm here and teaching, you know, I'm teaching in order to turn the wheel of thought form building. We're all ready to receive the collective consciousness that comes with God's plan. And it comes into us, and that's the Holy Spirit. And then when we see it, we react to it, rather than reacting to our plan, yeah, and our expectation and all the things that come with that. Where in reality, what about God's plan? And if you relax, you could see it and then support it, and it'll turn out, it'll work out. You'll be amazed. Yeah. All right. So let's pray a bit. Yeah. Okay. Okay, repeat after me. Lord Jesus the Christ,
Lord Jesus the Christ,
thank you for bringing me here.
thank you for bringing me here.
Lord Jesus the Christ,
Lord Jesus the Christ,
I open my heart today.
I open my heart today.
I invite you to come inside.
I invite you to come inside.
Come inside, Lord Jesus the Christ,
Come inside, Lord Jesus the Christ,
and save my life.
and save my life.
Receive me today
Receive me today
as a child of God.
as a child of God.
Forgive all of my sins
Forgive all my sins,
and write my name in the book of life.
and write my name in the book of life.
I give myself to you,
I give myself to you,
my spirit,
my spirit,
my soul,
my soul,
my body.
my body.
Receive me, Jesus the Christ.
Receive me, Jesus the Christ.
Now,
Now,
the devil,
the devil,
the blood of Jesus the Christ is against you.
the blood of Jesus the Christ is against you.
I command you now
I command you now
to leave me.
to leave me.
I do not belong to you.
I do not belong to you.
I am God's property.
I am God's property.
Leave my life.
Leave my life.
I disassociate myself from you.
I disassociate myself from you.
I renounce every evil covenant.
I renounce every evil covenant.
I have entered in with you.
I have entered in with you.
In the name of Jesus the Christ,
In the name of Jesus the Christ,
I have received salvation.
I have received salvation.
I am a child of God.
I am a child of God.
Amen. Okay, we're going to do this puja too. So repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad.
I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad
to guide me into the right activity in the plan, to clarify and stimulate my mind, to transform and transmute my feelings and emotions, to energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body, so there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay. And not as an advertisement, but all the prayers that I do are in this book. And I just got this published just a few days ago for Tara's birthday. So for people who would like it, it's available. Yeah, just contact Shambhala. And we're ordering more, so we'll always have them. So just order them. And then I'm going to be making all my music into, what do you call them? Album. Yeah, the old style albums. Yeah. So it's gonna, it's the whole thing. Yeah. And so all of them are going to go into that, covers and all. So those will be available probably in about 4 or 5 months. And then from that point on, they'll always be available. Yeah. So that and along with these cards that you could buy that if you want to give to your friends, my pujas, you can get the cards and then give them away. And they're very inexpensive. Okay. Now I'm ready. So this is going to be, I think, let's see. Yeah, this is the 7 Rays of God. So you need to watch it on screen. Yeah. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of your ashram, soul, and monad. To guide you into the right activity in the plan. I invoke the alignment of the 7 rays. To your 7 chakras. I invoke the alignment of the 3rd ray. To your throat center. I invoke the alignment of the 7th ray. To your sacral center. of the sixth ray. To your solar plex. I invoke the alignment of the first ray to your crown center. I invoke the alignment of the fourth ray to your base center. I invoke the alignment of the fifth ray to your brow center. I invoke the light of the Christ within. I invoke the nature of the Buddha that you are to become. I invoke the mind of the Devic angelic beingness that you can be. I invoke the celestial spheres, the sounds of heaven, the sounds of God, the song of love, Om sacred sites. Om great pyramid. Om portal. I invoke the healing through the meridians and the ley lines of this earth, the pulse of the seven rays, the awakening of the logos, the healing of humanity, the coming forth of the hierarchies, the saving grace of truth. Planetary, logos, solar, logos, cosmic, logos. One God, one law, one life. I invoke the angel that you are to wake up. Science of redemption, science of God. Sacred geomancy. I invoke all mankind to dream in visions, to awaken, to live. Om unity and personality. Om Okay, just stay relaxed and keep your eyes closed. Okay, I'm just going to play the drum for a little bit and just meditate on that. Okay. You can open your eyes and relax. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so we don't have much longer with this guy. Yeah. So, I mean, anything can happen. According to his plan, the whole thing's turned to his direction, and he'll continue being president, and we'll all have to work that out. But it's a strange thing, but he still thinks like that. Every single day he thinks like that. So that's just pride. You know how pride is. Well, that man's got it. So just relax into it and learn. Witness the fact that he's going to do some pretty crazy things. He's going to ask people. There's a guy who wants to be president, who is going to go against the Senate and vote against Biden and say he will not allow him to be elected. And it has nothing to do with any real reality. It's just something that he agreed with Trump that he would do it. He did it openly in public, and Trump was standing there, so now he has to do it. And Trump's all proud of him. This one person out of the whole government is going to stand up and try and turn the whole thing around. So, and it's not going to happen, but it will allow this guy to get his moment of being the next president under Trump. So that what you liked about Trump, he will provide you. For all those people who would vote for Trump in case something happens and he doesn't get voted for, this is the alternative. So be aware, this man is not good. He is overwhelmingly bad, and he would drive everything backwards into a left-hand spin. So just be aware that this doesn't go away. All the people who are following Hitler and following Mussolini all reincarnate. They're all in their jobs right now. They're doing everything that they can to live out their lives because their previous life led them to this. And now they've got to work it out, But there are more people that are going to continue coming forward that are crazy and going to say really weird shit and just move forward. Watch all this happen. Watch all the electric cars come. Watch all the housing change. Watch other people in other countries get the same benefits that we're getting here in America. They're going to get them all over the world. Watch it. Watch all these yachts that have been out there turn into solar yachts, all made in solar. Not as big as you can imagine. They're more minimal. Even though they're yacht people, billionaires, they're going to transcend that process and move into what would be a motorhome on the ocean that drives itself, has no sails, and is solar. That's cool. That's cool. And then when these people no longer want that yacht, who are assholes and could afford that $2 or $3 million ticket, it now sells for $750,000 to the average householder that wants to live on the ocean in an RV and travel the world and not spend any money. First time in the world that will happen, and it will happen. And we're going to receive the benefits of people who can afford the first phase of it, and it will begin coming down to where it will be normal for many of us to have really nice boats that travel the whole world and doesn't cost us anything, rather than living in a house. And we'll do the same thing with a vehicle that we drive around. We live in that vehicle rather than living in a house. So that's going to happen, people. Enjoy yourselves. All right? Thank you.